Hello everyone and welcome to SOP Academy. In this video, we are going to see an latest Infosys interview experience. So the branch of this candidate was CSE, Computer Science. The date of this interview was 28th of February. So it is a recent interview. And the duration of this interview was 20 to 25 minutes. So let us begin this video and look at the questions. First question was, what are built-in functions? So in C++, there are two types of functions. The first function is known as built-in and the second are user-defined functions. So the question was, what are built-in functions? So let us look at what are built-in functions. So built-in functions are also known as the library functions. These are the functions that are provided by C++. So these are functions that are already provided by the programming language. We need not write these ourselves. We can directly use them. So example, you must have used these header files, which is CMath and string. So these header files are used so that we can implement some built-in functions which are math functions and string functions. So these math and string functions are already written in the programming language. We need not write them. The second question is, what is a macro? So a macro is a piece of code in a program that is replaced by the value of the macro. So macro is defined using the hashtag define keyword. You can see the example, hashtag define area L comma B, L into B. So hashtag define is the keyword, then here is the name of the macro, and here is the definition. So whenever a macro name is encountered by the compiler, it replaces the name with the definition of the macro. So macro definitions need not be terminated by a semicolon. So you can see there is no semicolon here. So in a macro, you need not put a semicolon. The third question was, explain call by value. So the call by value method of passing arguments to a function copies the actual value of an argument into the formal parameter of the function. Here I have provided two examples. First is pass by value and the second one is pass by reference. So you can see in pass by value we are directly giving the actual values of the argument, but in pass by reference we are giving the reference to the values. So in this case, changes made to the parameter inside the function have no effect on the argument. Next question is, what are the differences between structure and union? So let us look at the differences. The first difference is that we define structure with a struct keyword, and in the case of union we use union keyword. The next is, when variables are declared in a structure, the compiler allocates memory to each variable member. But in case of union, the compiler allocates memory to the largest size of variable member. So the size of the structure will be equal to the sum of the size of each data member. But in case of the union, the size of a union is equal to the size of its largest data member. Some other differences: each variable member occupied a unique memory space in case of structure, but in union, variable members share the memory space of the largest size variable. Changing the value of a member will not affect other variable members in case of structure, but in union, changing the value of one member will also affect other variable members. Each variable member will be assessed at a time in structure, but in union, only one variable member will be assessed at a time. We can initialize multiple variables of a structure at a time, but in case of union, only the first data member can be initialized. Then in structure, all variable members store some value at any point in the program, and in union, exactly only one data member stores a value at any particular instance in the program. The last is, the structure allows initializing multiple variables at once, but in union, it allows only one variable member at once. So these are some of the differences. You can look at them and then you can explain if this comes in your interview. The next question was, what are the differences between static versus static global variables? So first let us look at what are global variables. So global variables are variables which are defined outside the function. So these are the variables which are defined outside a function, not inside. The scope of the variable begins at the point where they are defined. So whenever you define the global variable, their scope starts from there and will last till the end of the file or program. So where you define the variable, the scope will start there and till the end it will go on. So global variables also have external linkage, which means that in other source files, the same name refers to the same memory allocation. Let us look at what are static global variables. So in this case, they are private to the source file. So when they are defined and do not conflict with other variables in other source files, which would have the same name. The next question was, explain SDLC model. So SDLC model, the full form is software development lifecycle. It is a process used by the software industry to design, develop and test high quality softwares. So the SDLC aims to produce a high quality software that meets or exceeds customer expectations, reach completion within times and cost estimates. This is the SDLC model. The first stage is planning, the second is defining, third stage is designing, then building, then testing, and last is deployment. So this is a full the process of an SDLC. So when they ask you what are the processes or what are the steps in SDLC, so you can mention these steps starting from planning till deployment. Then the next question was how to create a database. So this is the syntax for creating a database. You write create database, then you will provide the database name according to your requirement. So example, we create a database known as MyDB here. So create database, then we give the name of the database that we want to create. Now let us look at the next question. The next question was what are the recent technologies in the IT field? So before any interview, you must also always know some of the recent technologies because these type of questions are very common. So like you can study about cloud technologies, AI, ML, and other blockchain related technologies so that only you can read them about in short and so that you can explain them in the interview. The next question was a very important question. Explain your project. So normally these questions are asked in the starting itself, but for him they asked in the last. So they can tell you to explain your project completely. So you will have to mention each and everything, which programming languages you used, and how many team members were in the project, what was the aim of the project, and what was the final outcome. After this, the next question was why should we hire you? The next question was why you chose SRM. So this candidate was from SRM. So this question was asked to him. So these are some of the spontaneous questions that you cannot prepare from before. Some spontaneous questions must be answered on that point itself. So the next question was why you chose CSE. So you can explain what were the advantages and benefits of choosing CSE, that your interest was in CSE and other things you can mention here. After that, what are you doing? Where are you doing your internship? So this candidate mentioned that he is doing an internship. So this question was asked to him. If you haven't mentioned, then they can ask you where did you do training from or any other things that you have mentioned in the resume. Are they paying you for the internship? So this was the resume based question. Ask me any question if you have. So this was the last question, and after that the interview concluded. So these were some of the questions. I tried to answer the technical questions in short and brief. So you can read more about these questions and answers, and you can also check out the other videos on the Infosys interview experience. So you can also join our Telegram channel. The link will be in the description as well as the comment section, and you can subscribe to the channel. I will be posting more interview experiences on Infosys in the recent days, in the upcoming days. So that is all for this video. See you soon in the next one.